Now to tonight's special report, and we're going to take you inside the world's first long-term nuclear storage facility. It's estimated that around 10,000 tonnes of high-level waste is generated each year worldwide. And right now there's about 250,000 tonnes of it lying in temporary storage facilities. At this stage, none of it is held in Australia. That material remains dangerous for around 100,000 years, so permanent storage solutions are needed. Now, Finland thinks it's found a way to safely bury nuclear waste until radiation levels are harmless. Europe correspondent James Glenday travelled to the country's west coast for a look.
The bright lights of Helsinki, Finland's bustling capital city, have been partly powered by nuclear energy for decades. Much of it comes from these reactors on Olkiluoto Island on the country's west coast.
This is entrance to the final repository itself.
And it's here, 420 metres underground, that a world-first facility is being built to get rid of the radioactive waste they produce.
We think and feel that this is something good done towards future generations.
Workers are currently drilling and blowing holes into the solid Finnish bedrock. They're creating a huge system of tunnels to isolate the waste for at least 100,000 years.
We will put the fuel bundles inside the copper capsules.
The capsules will be encased in clay to make sure no groundwater gets in and no radioactive uranium leaks out.
The deep geological disposal is the safest and most secured way to get rid of the harmful spent fuel.
What's currently happening here on this island is of great interest to Australia because although we don't use nuclear power or have nuclear submarines and therefore don't produce high-level nuclear waste, scientists say parts of our continent and climate are ideally suited to a facility of this kind.
The Commonwealth's already earmarked a cattle station for a low-level nuclear dump to store the nation's radioactive medical waste. But the South Australian government's going further and investigating taking spent fuel from other countries and burying it deep underground. It's been told it could make more than $100 billion from a high-level dump.
It's against the law to have a high-level processing facility here in Australia, and the Australian government has no plans to change that. However, we will look at whatever the South Australian government adopts out of this process and respond in due course.
Right now, much of the world's nuclear waste is stored in pools like this one in America. Plans for dumps in some countries have been killed off by community opposition. But local councillor Visa Jalonen says most residents in the nearby town of Erijoki support the nuclear industry because it's paid for facilities like this ice hockey rink.
We think so that because we produce nuclear, we have to take responsibility also for the waste, and that's our strategy.
This part of Finland is home to isolated lakes and small farms. But in tens of thousands of years' time, environmentalists say there's a chance the area will experience another ice age.
All we have now is scientific theory.
Groups like Greenpeace fear that could lead to a catastrophe. It worries the dump won't stand the test of time.
So we need to create systems of what to do when something goes wrong during that time, whether that would be after 100 years, 500 years, 5,000 years.
Okay, so this is a radioactive fuel bundle.
A number of the 400 nuclear power plants across the globe, including those in Finland, use some Australian uranium in their fuel rods.
And you want to keep them away from anything for 100,000?
Correct. Just in case.
Okay. Given we're already indirectly helping produce nuclear energy, the tricky question facing our governments is, should we also play a role in getting rid of the radioactive waste? James Glenday, ABC News in Finland.